Hi, Grace.
Hi, Tyler.
You got that look on your face. Let me guess.
I do.
You have a question.
Of course I have a question.
She's always got questions.
That's becoming my thing. I have a question.
Okay. What's your question today?
Do you consider yourself an artsy person?
Artsy.
Artsy, artistic, creative.
Oh, any of those things?
Yes. It's subjective.
Some blend of those things. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
What about you? Are you artsy?
I think so. I'm just testing the vibes today before we talk with our guests.
Why?
Because we are chatting with our friends from the Arts Council today. We have a local artist with us, Caitlin, and then we also have Eileen from our Hillsborough County Arts Council.
Going into that conversation, not knowing if you're artsy or not would put me at a disadvantage.
Yeah, we kind of have to check the skill level beforehand.
Yeah. You really think so?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
because I wanted to know how artsy you are. Maybe I had some questions for you.
Okay, a little turning of the tables.
You ready to do something? You ready to do an activity?
We have an activity?
You ready?
Yes.
Look at.
Oh my God, we have a coloring sheet. That's so exciting.
2 bobcats.
Wait, they're really cute.
Here, take this.
Okay, so what's the challenge?
All right, well, the challenge is to draw the best bobcat.
Oh my God, you have so many colors.
Look at all the colors. Look, there's too many to pick from. Just give me 5 or 6.
Okay, here you go.
All right.
There you go.
Okay. Well, these are all the same color, by the way.
That's part of art challenges.
Okay, so do you want to pick bobcats?
Why?
Because of the 2 bobcats that Hillsborough County recently re-released into the wild. Come on.
That's right, Orion and Electra.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
I saw the picture.
I like the connection.
I saw the video. It was really cool.
Oh, the video was very, very cool.
So why don't we do this? Let's get some real artists in here, and let's talk about Hillsborough Art Council, and then when they're gone, we'll reveal our masterpieces.
All right, I think that's a great idea.
All right.
Hello, Hillsborough.
I'm very excited about this episode. The art kid in me is very excited.
You were an art kid too?
Oh yeah, no, I was a big art kid.
Did you really like art, or were you like me, where you couldn't do sports and you're like, just give me something else?
No, I'm a big art kid. Did art in high school and in college. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I was an art major.
Grace, I didn't even know this. What were you doing?
I know. I started as a studio art major. That didn't go well. And then I ended up doing a weird path. I don't know. It was a whole thing.
A weird path.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a bunch of things, and it led me to podcasting. I guess.
Are you guys comfortable with how many details she's skipping over?
I overdoing my life story here?
No, I was sincerely curious about what you were doing, and now I have to know what you were doing in art at school too.
Yeah, what was your art history?
I was a band kid.
Oh,
that's art.
Okay, love that. Yep.
Anyway, why don't we go back a ways, Eileen?
Okay.
Let's talk about how you two know each other.
Mm-hmm. Right,
that
would make sense.
But also about the Arts Council, what the Art Council is and what you guys do. I know it's probably something people have heard of, but you all are sort of recently a part of the Hillsborough County cogwheel, right?
As of 2021.
Oh, that's fresh.
Yeah, fiscal year 22. So anyway, Caitlin and I know each other because she was one of our prior artist grant recipients for the professional development for artist grant program that we have. And just really quickly on background, that offers up to $2,000 for artists. It's reimbursement based. So, they have to put money in, and then assuming everything checks out, we give them a reimbursement. And you can use that for either equipment or education. So Caitlin used hers to take classes to help learn how to make jewelry. But people can use it for a variety of things. We'll have photographers who are getting a camera lens, or, a ceramicist who wants, a special thing that allows them to use the clay over and over again to reduce waste is, something else somebody has gotten. So it can be really different depending on kind of what the art form is and what they're doing. But it's, all good to kind of help support the business and the career of the artist involved. And then I think you also just asked me sort of generally speaking, what is the Arts Council?
I mean, that's one thing y'all do, but what?
Yeah. So we have a variety of grant programs, actually. So, everything from supporting an individual artist to special events to historic preservation to just regular arts organizations you might see in the community, like the Tampa City Ballet as an example. So it's kind of all runs the gamut of anything arts related. Historic preservation is the most recent new thing that we're taking on. But yeah, so we do all of our different grant programs. And then we also just have sometimes classes for artists about professional development along with the grant that we offer. Obviously, we do cool, fun things with you guys about, communicating kind of what's going on in the art scene. And
your newsletter is great about that. I get the newsletter
oh,
that you guys send out.
Yeah, we have
it's
our
like
little
all the arts events
monthly
and stuff.
event newsletter. Yes. So we try to tell people what's going on and just kind of act as a resource for the arts community and for like anybody in the public who has questions about the arts or are interested in the arts and want to participate.
Caitlin, I'll be curious to hear what it was like from your perspective when you first became aware of the grant opportunity and then going down that road from there.
Well, I would say that was like the pivot point of me never touching my paintbrushes again because I was a painter like that. I went to grad school and I was a painter and like they were telling me to like make big paintings and stuff. And I was just thinking like in my heart, I'm not a big painter person. I'm a tiny little thing person. Like I want to make intimate objects that are, have more of like a one-on-one, conversation with quote unquote. So at that time I was thinking about, how I can combine the rock hounding with the painting. And that was when I was thinking about Native American style jewelry that has, all the different stones put together to make, usually geometric shapes or, geometric pictures out of stone, different colored pieces of stone. And that was when I found out about the Arts Council, the professional development grant for individual artists. I was like, wow, that's a lot of money to be able to learn something new. And I had applied to it and I was thinking like, it's going to be super competitive because that's a lot of money to go towards us. And I won it. And that was just like absolutely like career changing for me to like making paintings and not selling them to now making jewelry and like having, multiple avenues of selling it and like actually sustaining myself through my jewelry alone, which is like amazing. And I wouldn't have had that opportunity without the grant. So like getting that grant and being able to take the different classes to learn how to make inlay jewelry was, absolutely career changing.
Yes.
So did you know from high school that you wanted to get into doing art when you got older? Like that was the career path you wanted to take?
Not career path for sure. I was like, I'm just going to follow my footsteps, be a doctor or something like that. And, it wasn't until high school when I had my teachers, Dana Warner and Judy Oliveri, and they were like, you're too like good at this to not do it in some. And I was like, just thinking like, I'm not going to do it full time. And then they really, really were on me about applying for Savannah College of Art and Design because I wasn't going to do it. And then I got in, had a scholarship. So I was like, well, I guess this is where I'm going. But when I got there, I was like, I don't really know what, I really wanted, I was good at painting and that was really what I focused on. But I kind of took a lot of different classes. A lot of times you had different like electives. So I did take a jewelry making class then and try to dabble in like a bunch of different things. And I ended up graduating with a painting degree. And it was funny because like the reason I didn't get into jewelry then because the teacher was like I feel like she favored a lot of students. So I would didn't really feel like, it kind of turned me off to it at that time. So I was like, I was doing like a lot of weird stuff. And I felt like she was like, that's like the weird art kid. Like at art school.
At art school, you're the weird art
I was the weird art kid at art school. Yeah.
Oh.
So I was like, I didn't think about it then. So it wasn't until later that I came back to it, jewelry making and lapidary, which is the art of cutting stones. So I do a lot of inlay jewelry now. And that's like what I'm super passionate about. But I feel like all that experience, like really, the glass blowing, the ceramics, all that, like little bits of that influence what I'm doing, from all the inspirations and, all different artists I've seen over the years. So I say you can't learn too much.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I keep talking about books I read, but there is a book that I read that is called Range. And it is basically about this topic of people who have like very, non-linear paths to getting really good at something. And they actually talk about how like the best people in sports are people who, didn't fixate on something at the beginning, right? Like I think they use Roger Federer as an example of this in tennis. And he did all kinds of sports before he got to tennis.
Well, Michael Jordan in his baseball career, right?
Or his film acting career.
Right. Space Jam, one of the best movies of all time.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite questions to ask because no one ended up where they thought they were going to end up.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
But everyone we talk to passionate about what they do.
Is the fine art jewelry community in Tampa big? Like, what does that look like?
There are people here and there, but usually a lot of the jewelers kind of descend upon Tucson, Arizona in January and February. That's like the biggest rock show in probably the world.
I got real excited for about a half a second when you said the biggest rock show. I'm like,
No, not actual rock. Literally,
I get it now.
But yeah, that's where, I usually meet people that I have really great friends in Canada and Australia that do the same kind of thing. And, I don't get to see them. I'm really great friends with them and we talk shop all day long and we can, we video chat and things. But yeah, for the most part, it's hard, it's hard to find your community when you have something that's so niche, like that's not as popular.
While we're talking about rocks, though, I really think it's so cool that your honeymoon was like a giant rock hunt.
Yeah.
What do you mean a giant rock?
Yeah, so like
how did you know we asked all of our guests about their honeymoons?
No, this is so fun because she goes and she finds a lot of the stones that go into the jewelry that she makes. So
wait, that's very cool.
I think this is so interesting.
Well, most people go on honeymoons and they go to like the beach and to like do absolutely nothing. Well, my husband and I are not like that. We don't sit still very well. So I planned this whole trip where, we both love rock hounding, and that's a big part of like what I do. I wanted to kind of merge my passion for rock hounding and painting into these like wearable paintings that are like the inlay jewelry. So on our honeymoon, we flew into Salt Lake City and drove all the way to San Diego. And it was like this, basically this whole week-long adventure where we would stop in different locations to like look for fire agate and different fossils and this and that, all the whole path down. So we did a lot of digging in the dirt pretty much on our honeymoon, finding all sorts of treasures, and that was a lot of fun for us.
What do they say at the airport when you put that big bag of rocks on?
Yeah, you know what? They stop me once in a while.
Yeah.
There was a time I went to Oklahoma and found these barite roses, and I had my bag full of it because I didn't want to send it through USPS because I was just afraid that they were going to get busted in the mail. So I had them in my backpack, and like, I'm sure it was like glowing some random color on the screen. And they were like,
the dogs are sniffing your bag.
And so they were like peeked it open. They're like, what is in here? I'm like, rocks. And he's like peeked in a bit and he's like, okay, you can just go.
They probably still talk about you to this day.
I mean, I don't think I'm the weirdest thing that they've brought through. I think there's
probably
much more
not,
interesting things that they've seen on the scanner.
So if I was a new artist in Hillsborough and I was kind of scared to jump into making this into a business and making this kind of like my whole career or life, kind of like you have, like where would be the best place to start?
I almost feel like you were talking about this a little earlier in the conversation, though, when you were talking about how, life is not a set path and you can just decide that you're going to try something new. And it sounds so simple, I guess, when you're saying that, and there's a lot of vulnerability that probably goes into that as well. But I do think that's like an important mindset for people to have, that you don't want to stay stuck where you are.
I would say you're determining your future. And I feel like if you're not going to take the step on your own, no one's going to take it for you. It's nothing I'm doing is new. Like I think even in the arts, whatever kind of jewelry am I making, nothing is new in this world, in the art world. It's just I've kind of stumbled across it in a different way than learning it in a traditional, school setting per se.
It sounds like it found you. Like it would have found you anywhere.
Yeah, probably.
Thank you both so much for coming to talk to us. Where can people go to learn more about the Arts Council and all the opportunities available? Where can they go to learn more about that?
Yeah, you can find a lot of information on our website, which is hcfl.gov/Arts Council. And you can find out about the grants. You can sign up for that newsletter that Caitlin mentioned earlier and get like information about the events and the news related to the arts community. So yeah, stay tuned, get signed up for an email.
Awesome.
Great.
All right. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello, Hillsborough.
All right, Grace, how artsy are you feeling now?
Even more than I thought was possible.
Oh, really?
Really.
Oh, I went the
I
other way.
get inspired very easily.
Yeah.
You went the other way.
I mean, come on. After hearing Caitlin's story
Didn't
about...
you think like this, like I could do that too?
Well, something for sure.
Okay.
But I mean, when you hear everything, all the hoops that she jumped through to get where she is.
That's true.
And, really cool to hear them together talk about how it's changed so much for her from all those programs.
I think we got a good look at what the whole arts community as in Hillsborough County looks like. And I'm really happy we got to chat with both of them.
Yeah. But you know what everyone's really waiting on?
The big reveal.
The big reveal. Are you ready to show our masterpieces?
Let's do it on 3.
You want to count us down?
Yes,
All
I
right.
do.
All right.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Wow.
Ooh, I'm seeing an ombre.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yours
okay.
is
Hot pink.
Hot pink.
Hot pink.
Yours is Electra.
And she speaks.
Yeah. Oh, she speaks?
Yeah, see, I'm Electra.
Yeah, well, what's her voice sound like when she speaks?
I'm Electra.
That's not what Electra sounds like. She's much more cheery than that. She's happy to be out in the wilderness.
That's true.
With her brother,
That's true.
Orion.
Orion.
Who doesn't have too many colors on him because Grace only handed me.
Art is about challenges, okay?
You're not wrong.
I'm not wrong.
But come on.
I know, I could have
he
given
needs
you
a little
like
bit
maybe one more.
You
An
know what?
accent color.
You know what would make this fair? If we try this again.
Oh, I would love to try this again.
All
what
right.
do you got?
Do you want the bald eagle
Okay, very majestic.
or the bald cypress tree?
The ball, how is that comparable?
They're both bald.
Those are
both majestic
both
majestic examples of
Those
nature.
are incredibly different.
I think you're a bald cypress tree.
Why do I get the cypress?
I feel like since I only got 5 very similar colors, I should get the
Hey,
eagle.
I only
You
use
get-
2 colors.
You get the
Whatever.
you get
I'm
the
gonna
bald cypress
appreciate
tree.
nature for what it is.
Oh, you're gonna okay. Well,
I love nature in all forms.
I feel like this is about to get real competitive. We don't have time for this right now. We gotta go.
We do gotta go.
Well, since the show's called Hello Hillsborough, we don't say goodbye here, but what we do say is thank you so much for listening. However you spend your day, we're so glad you took the time to join us. Remember to click that subscribe button so you never miss a new episode.
And be sure to follow your favorite county on social media. We are at Hillsborough FL on all social media platforms. And for more information on everything Hillsborough County, visit hcfl.gov.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Grace.
See you next time.